Captain David Reynolds stood at the observation deck of the diplomatic vessel Harmony, watching the twin suns of the Andorian system cast their golden light across the crystalline cities below. 3 months had passed since first contact with the ethereal collective, and humanity had learned that the galaxy held wonders beyond their wildest dreams. The diplomatic mission had brought together representatives from dozens of species, but none had captured David's attention quite like Queen Lyra of the Ethereals. She possessed an otherworldly grace that seemed to bend reality around her presence. With silver hair that moved like liquid starlight, and eyes that held the depth of nebulae. Her people were ancient beings of pure energy who had chosen to take physical form for this historic gathering. Today marked the signing of the Galactic Peace Accord, a treaty that would establish humanity as the newest member of the interstellar community. David had been chosen as Earth's primary representative, not just for his diplomatic skills, but for his unique ability to bridge cultural gaps with species that thought in ways humans had never imagined. The conference hall buzzed with activity, as delegates from across the galaxy took their positions. The crystalline hegemony's representatives chimed musical notes to communicate, while the void dwellers spoke in whispers that carried across dimensions. At the center of it all sat Queen Lyra, her presence commanding respect from even the most ancient civilizations. David had spent countless hours in discussion with her over the past weeks, learning about her people's philosophy of harmony through understanding. The Ethereals believed that true peace could only come when different forms of consciousness learned to appreciate their fundamental differences while finding common ground in their shared desire for growth and discovery. As the formal ceremonies concluded, David found himself walking through the ship's botanical gardens, a space designed to accommodate plant life from dozens of worlds. The air shimmered with bioluminescent spores from Signian moss trees, while earth roses bloomed alongside vegan crystal flowers that sang in the solar wind. He paused beside a fountain where water from 7 different worlds mingled in perfect harmony, each drop maintaining its unique properties while contributing to something greater than itself. The metaphor was not lost on him as he reflected on the day's achievements. "You seem contemplative, Captain Reynolds." David turned to find Queen Lyra approaching, her footsteps silent on the garden path. In the soft light of the exotic plants, she appeared almost ethereal, as if she might dissolve back into pure energy at any moment. "Just thinking about how far we've all come," David replied, gesturing toward the mixed flora around them. "A year ago, humanity thought we were alone in the universe. Now we're part of something incredible." Lyra nodded, her expression thoughtful. "Your species has impressed many of us with your adaptability and openness to new ideas. Most civilizations require centuries to adjust to galactic society, yet humans have embraced it with remarkable enthusiasm." They walked together through the garden, passing beneath archways formed by living wood from the forest worlds of the Outer Rim. David had grown comfortable in Lyra's presence over the weeks, finding her both wise and surprisingly curious about human nature. "There is something I have been considering," Lyra said, her voice carrying a note of uncertainty that David had never heard before. "My people do not often form bonds with other species, but the connection between our kinds has proven unique." David stopped walking, sensing the weight behind her words. Around them, the garden seemed to hold its breath, even the singing crystal flowers falling silent. "The ethereal collective has observed many species over millennia," Lyra continued, her luminous eyes meeting his. "We have seen empires rise and fall, watched civilizations reach for the stars only to destroy themselves through fear and hatred. But humanity offers something different." She paused beside a flowering vine from David's own world, its simple earth blooms somehow holding their own among the exotic alien flora. "Your people possess a quality we had thought lost to the universe. You maintain hope in the face of uncertainty, show kindness to those who are different, and choose cooperation over conquest." David felt his heart rate increase, though he could not yet understand why. There was something in Lyra's manner, a vulnerability beneath her regal bearing that spoke of inner conflict. "The peace we have established here will require ongoing cooperation between our peoples," Lyra said, her voice growing softer. "The ethereal collective traditionally maintains distance from other species, but perhaps it is time for us to consider a different path. She turned to face him fully, and David saw something in her expression that took his breath away. It was hope mixed with fear, wisdom tempered by uncertainty, and beneath it all, something that looked remarkably like affection. In your human culture, there are bonds that transcend species, are there not? Partnerships that unite not just individuals, but entire peoples through shared commitment and understanding? David nodded slowly, beginning to understand where this conversation was leading. Marriage, he said quietly. Though I'm not sure how that would work between our species. Lyra's expression brightened slightly. The ethereals have similar concepts, though we call it the eternal binding. It is a union of consciousness that transcends physical form, creating a bridge between different ways of being, while allowing each partner to remain true to their nature. The garden around them seemed to pulse with energy, as if responding to the moment's significance. David realized that what he had taken for diplomatic courtesy had grown into something much deeper during their weeks of conversation and shared discovery. Your people and mine stand at a crossroads, Lyra continued. We can remain allies at a distance, or we can choose a path that has never been attempted, a union that would symbolize the very ideals we have committed to uphold. She stepped closer, her presence seeming to fill the space between them with possibilities he had never imagined. I have watched you these past weeks, David Reynolds. You embody the best qualities of your species while respecting genuine respect for others, unlike yourself. In you, I see the potential for something extraordinary. David felt the weight of her words, understanding that this moment would echo through history regardless of his answer. The choice before him was not just personal, but political, cultural, and potentially revolutionary. Would you consider marrying someone like me, human? Lyra asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Would you take the hand of an ethereal queen and help forge a new kind of unity among the stars? The question hung in the air between them, carrying implications that stretched far beyond two individuals finding connection across the vast differences that separated their kinds. David looked into her eyes and saw not just an alien monarch, but someone who had chosen to be vulnerable in the name of a greater dream. In that moment, he realized that the greatest adventures were not found in exploring distant worlds, but in daring to build bridges across the spaces that divided conscious beings. Yes, he said simply, watching as Lyra's face lit up with joy that seemed to illuminate the entire garden. I would be honored